everyone, and welcome to Uncut with Sukhdev and Gina. For those of you who've been to our programs before, you'll know that this is an opportunity for us to share with you coaching. And our guest today is Eric Flores. We're very, very pleased to welcome you today.
Thank you very much.
We're going to start off in a moment, but before we do, Sukhdev, do you want to introduce yourself and tell people what you do?
Yes, my name is Sukhdev Krishan. I am the founder of Creative Discovery Group. We're a coaching platform throughout 12 different countries, and we're looking for people who like to go in and impact the world and think really big. And we're just excited to be here and see what happens today.
Thank you. I'm Gina Gardner. My company is Genuinely You, which is all about personal and spiritual development and the development of enlightened leadership. That's leadership with integrity, compassion, and the courage to do what's right in order to be more profitable. So, Isaac, welcome. What would you like to focus on today?
I would like to focus on work development, like transitioning myself into the work that I'm going to do, my mission.
Okay. And your mission is?
To help bring alignment back to the world.
That's a huge mission.
It's definitely been years in the making, and with those that have done their part has helped me to be more here in the moment. So I'm very grateful for even being on here with you guys, because just hearing you say what you do definitely makes me feel like really good to be here. I know it's meant to be. So thank you so much.
Before we start, I think it would be very helpful certainly for me, and I suspect Sukhdev and people who are listening, when you talk about bringing alignment to the world, what do you actually mean?
Well, for me, in my development in consciousness and just learning about myself, I realized, more about myself through time, right? And so through lessons and transitions and perspective. And so as I started making choices that were to do something different in life, I realized that it was really difficult to find some classes or education that was for people that were asking certain questions. Why are we here? What is God? Who am I? What am I doing here? And so it's really was difficult for me to find a platform. And so through the development, I found higher lessons, and what for me higher lessons is when you get to speak your truth, your higher truth, and it actually begins to resonate within you. So when I was hearing certain things, it anchored in what I believed I was beyond the limited thinking, beyond the limited programming of everyone wanted me to go learn from some leader that was their lead in what they do. So I felt like not a lot of people had the answers, which was like more or less a part of rebellion from the people who are raising us, or even teachers and stuff like that. So when I began to build or understand that I needed to build my education myself, what I wanted to learn in, that's where the path started. So it was let's say like 10 years in the making, and it's a difficult path, and it's physical, it's emotional, it's mental, and it is spiritual. And we all have the ability to make great transitions in our lives. And so becoming that like self-aware, even just self-awareness alone, we can make huge leaps in our lives and begin to leave old programming or mindsets, when we begin to anchor ourselves and be a part of the now. Don't live in the past, don't live in the future. And the more I get to share with individuals like yourselves, it just reinforces those feels, and for me, the foundation of why I'm here. So bringing alignment to the world is really bringing an alignment to myself, and
Really
sharing with
insightful,
others.
because so many people think that bringing anything to the world is about all out there, when actually the answers are very much in here. If I
I
may,
feel
I'd like to split this into two separate things, really. One is
okay.
about the personal alignment, and even before we started the session, there were a couple of things that you said that I'd like to bring into the session and explore, if I may. And then
Yes.
the second is in terms of how that will look for your mission, one, as you become more and more aligned with yourself, how that shows up in terms of helping other people, and helping alignment in the world, because they're very closely connected, but actually require two very different approaches, don't they?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if I may share, just before this started, we had literally a couple of minutes conversation in which you said to us that you'd been really, really busy, and that you had taken this week to do some self-love.
Yeah.
And my challenge to you, what I'd like to explore is, what has being busy got to do with self-love?
Oh my goodness. It's so current. What a beautiful question and perfect time. Um, so being busy, right? We in anything that we do in this life,
I'm going
when
to
we're
stop you
busy.
right now, because you're talking about we, which is out there,
Oh,
and I want you to really focus on you. So it'll be I, not we.
okay.
Okay.
So when I'm busy, I'm busy working for other people.
Yeah.
And I understand more or less enough to know that, or feel enough to know and understand that I am not made to take those steps first for others. And so when I become working for others, I take things really serious. So when people need to advance, I give them everything that I know. And so
I'm just
I
going to
take.
stop. I'm going to stop you. And I'm really sorry about this, because it seems as if I'm being very rude.
Oh, you're good.
But I want to really challenge that giving your all for somebody else precludes loving yourself.
Interesting.
Because if
Yeah.
that's the case, then every time you're busy, love for yourself goes out the window. Is it possible, do you think, to be busy and really focused on giving somebody your best and able to love yourself 100%?
It's definitely possible for me. Yes.
Okay, so what gets in the way?
More my brain. My brain is very busy. I think things become easily complicated
So
too.
what does self-love, what represents self? How do you know that you're loving yourself?
When I begin to love myself, is taking that me time, allowing myself to honor my own time. Um, could be meditation, or sitting and watching the sun go down. These moments in time are have given me more value the more that I've spent doing it.
They are an incredibly important part of self-love, self-care.
Right.
But actually, I would suggest to you that self-love is actually a state of being. Loving and honoring who you are, and recognizing that you are an amazing, unique human being, and loving who you are, busy or not, opens up self-love in a huge way, doesn't it? Because at the
Definitely.
moment it's very narrow. I can either give my all to everybody and I can do a good job and advance myself, or I can love myself.
Right. And I think that my development was, I was focusing, you know, on things too much, more or less. And how I was doing it was also creating my feedback, you know, of how I feel. So it was a very conscious time to relearn, re-education. And yeah, this week was just a reminder, I guess, like a reminder in a way,
I'm
because
I'm
yeah.
going to stop you again, and I don't normally keep stopping like this, but again, the connection is being made to my doingness rather than my beingness. So self-love is about activity from all of the things you're saying, and you're continuing to go along that line.
Mhm.
Self-love is a frame of being, which
Right.
is there despite being busy or not, if you choose.
Right.
And it's
And
not dependent upon a meditation or enjoying the sunset. Whilst those are hugely important and lovely,
mhm.
self-love is a state of being which is 24/7,
Wow.
no matter what you're doing. And I think if you, it's so, I feel it's such an important a light bulb moment for you that I think will be pivotal in changing, that you don't have to be unbusy to be loved by you. Do
Wow.
you see the distinction?
Yeah, I did. I knew there was a, I know that my mind is losing or is gaining by losing. But yeah, I and you're, wow. Yeah, I definitely see that. I feel it. I feel it differently, right? Instead of like, oh yeah, going to do, being is a completely different,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, job or action.
Don't you think it's quite interesting that we're called human beings, but for the most part, we're human doings?
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, and the reason I wanted to pick that as a theme, um, because if you're talking about bringing enlightenment to the world,
Mhm.
then we have to model the behaviors that we want from other people. And if you can only love yourself when you are sitting doing Om or watching a sunset or having time, for most people, most of the time, that means, well, then I can't love myself.
Wow. I've never, yeah, I hardly ever seen it that way. That's amazing. And it makes a lot of sense because, you know, there's going to be a lot of that in the future. And I know there is a lot in general that, you know, like leaving behind that old programming and stuff. And so I allowed myself to get so far, but it's not what's going to take me into
So
that.
I'm curious, tell me, why what's happened with you in terms of self-love having to be such a lesson for you? You know, what are you having to let go of in order to be completely at one with loving who you are?
Well, that's the biggest thing, and I know this is like just how you said, it's making so much sense of what I thought. So I thought I had to, you know, be busy in a different way that was going to change, you know, where I was going or how I was feeling. Which obviously in conversation it was a transition, but it may not be that point, you know, that I want to stay at. So leaving behind family events or not celebrating my birthday. So I made a decision to not have so much fun like I did when I was young. You know, not feeling or thinking that I wasn't going to waste time and that I was saving time.
Is having fun wasting time?
definitely not consider if for me in this new perspective of thinking I have to do so much work, and if I have fun it's wasting time. It's really not for me now. It just in the last few months I'm realizing fun is not wasting time, really,
I
because
mean,
you
some of
can
it
change.
depends on how you get your fun, and
Right,
whether it's destructive to other
right.
people or not, or destructive to you.
And
But
that's sorry, I'm
and
sorry.
so I'm interested in, when you were talking about fun in the past, was
Oh,
there a destructive part to that fun?
oh, that's exactly what it was. I didn't love myself in ways that I knew I should or I could.
Okay.
Which is also following my confirm. I get in my life I've gotten these confirmation of path directions,
Hmm.
which first changed my perspective, and then it changed my mind, and then it made me want to actually change my actions. So the road was bumpy when I thought it was fun,
Yeah.
and when I began to notice also from perspective of the similarities and people that were having this fun too, I realized that I didn't want to follow the examples that were around me. And so yeah, it was destructive in just about every way if you really get down to the nitty gritty of things. And that's what kind of helped me to separate and then begin to want to break these walls or barriers that I didn't know were contracting my mind to project life different.
What were you trying to escape from by having all of that destructive fun?
The escape was from feeling, or maybe the lack of feeling a certain love, an attention. It was encouragement. It was well, protection too, because when we have friends and have fun, we feel protected as well. And so I was maybe more or less scared.
What were you scared of?
Being alone, being being weak, because I felt like we had to be really strong in this world to survive, even because of programming, because I was told at a young age that you had to be strong to survive. And it may have been true for, let's say, the people or the location, or for these things that are not really who I am, but I am a product of these things
Okay.
too as well, or I
I'm
was more
going
or less.
in a moment to Sukta, but just lastly, I want you to think about the relationship between strength and vulnerability,
Hmm.
and how often it takes a great deal of strength to be prepared to be vulnerable.
No, yes, that's the thing. When we have it hard, we become strong, and when we have it too easy, we become weak, and or there's things that we could do to keep building that strength. And yeah, it's been such a realization to actually go back when things are better and things come up, and it's like, wow, this trail of, I guess, like fear or tears, destruction, it's really just like another side to, knowing more about myself and people,
It
in
gives
general.
you the opportunity to
It,
learn, doesn't it? And lots of people have the same opportunity over and over again, but they don't learn. I'm going to hand over to Sukhdev, and I'll come back to you later. Sukhdev.
So I gotta say, Isaac, I really enjoy your mission and what I'm hearing so far, and you know, it sounds like you've come a long way. Where like this is a show about coaching, like we want to get into like the deepest root. What is one of, if you had to pick one thing, what would be the deepest um, challenge, I guess, that you have right now that that could help you go from A to B?
I believe just in this conversation with Gina, it just, and doing the work I did this week, I feel it's so simple of a almost like an answer. The space that we hold for other people, like on this show, is amazing. And that space, I know, is where I have gotten the most work done for myself. And I just want to be able to continue to do this too, and be confident in what I do, so I know thinking about it is staying busy in the head too. So I don't want to like stay too busy again, right? I know that I shouldn't overthink things, especially the future or the past. So I want to allow myself to anchor down this space, for the development, when I speak to people, when I'm trying to help others, when I get to do this, it does allow me to get to know myself, and so I want people to also get the most out of it as well. So I don't want to get in my own way, which would be staying too busy in my head and stuff like that.
So is confidence and anchoring it down, is that the biggest challenge for you?
I think in my development of trying to follow my intuition and stuff, it does play a big role. It really, really does.
Okay, so where do you think, well, why do you feel that confidence is lacking? Tell us a little bit of maybe from your childhood or something. Was there times that you didn't feel so confident, or you felt like somebody took your confidence away?
I definitely, throughout the years, it was like I kept feeling like I was being left behind in a lot of different, like really funny ways, kind of, because when you're in school, you're in a class and you guys move up together, right? And like, and in life, when your family, your brothers, your cousins, like your family, right? And they get to go and do things, and then you're not old enough to do things. Like, really, man, it's amazing just to say, I really did feel left behind, and so I think I've been working on not allowing that, or that struggle is one I want to leave behind, definitely.
Yeah, are you the youngest in your family?
I'm the third out of four.
Third out of four, okay. And so your older brother or your older siblings were moving along and doing things that you weren't able to do?
Yeah, but too, they may have been in destructive ways as well. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what about your younger sibling?
Like, he's always been there for me. I mean, like, in growing up and stuff, the having him born and coming into our family, like, it was an interesting development on its own. I didn't realize as a kid what was going on exactly, besides a new baby coming into this world, and him being my brother. So it was for me, I think it was a difficult transition in those times.
How old were you when he was born?
Oh my goodness. I think I was like 3 or something. I must have been around a really, really young age. I know I had already had my tricycle days, riding the tricycle and stuff like that. That was a point too. There was always a lot going on around me. It was action, in like action. It was high end energy, and all the things I believe I was also even trying to run from. So I was trying not to get left behind, and I was trying to get away, I think, at the same time, realizing that some things around me may not have been that great, for me. And I think I got a lot of reaction or lesson, because I became really like, there's no, for being a kid and having to be reprehended or, punished or something like of that sort. I was really strong. I was like, you know what? There's no sorries for those actions, mister. Like I was like, there is no taking that back, because I know that's wrong. And it got something going inside of me where it just began to build up, not always in the best way, because then we go to school, we're leaving home and we have to, leave home and then we feel like we're having fun. It really was a bad balance, right? Or it wasn't like a healthy balance that I knew, but it was something that I was like really born into. It was that programming or that those mindsets were really instilled to be a certain way. And I felt like I had to fight it because I was also raised to be really strong, to protect yourself and protect others. Like we were being raised into grown like men, as little boys. And so
what form did that take? Because you're talking very general terms, and in terms of Sukhdev and I helping you, it would be helpful to us if it's all very general. So as a small boy asking to be expecting to be grown up, how did that manifest itself?
Well, being born where I was, it was definitely a rough neighborhood. There was always like criminal activity, in the area. It was just like a hot spot or so. And even till this day, it's similar. Not many people get out, and we through trauma and realization, I know for myself as a kid, but for my mother, she worked to get us out, right? She made a big decision to get us out, and coming back, even in mind or dreams, it was always a really, really dark location in my dreams. And I was walking out. It was a long journey to get to 2 towns over in those dreams, and very vivid. And so that's that right there. It just gives me the chills, thinking about it. But yeah, it was so it was hard to think back, really, as a kid, of wanting to go back. So not wanting to be there with even family, growing up anymore, because of what I experienced was hard as well, and so the emotional part of me, I think, was kind of locked up in a lot of like fear, and hurt, of
Where
seeing
did
people.
that fear come from? Where did the fear and the trauma come from?
Like confrontation, yelling, like actual like fighting, like as if you didn't care or love somebody. Like it's really, I know we get in our head sometimes and not sometimes, but we overreact so much, to things that happen. And I know now that that's what was happening in those situations. Even on a fun, good weekend, the family's drinking Budweiser and watching the NASCAR game or something. And, it was a lot of unclosed cycles, stuff that should have been talked about, I guess. And so when you're trying to have fun, that's when the bad stuff comes up, when you think you've left it all behind, or you feel so. Yeah, I got to see that over and over and over again, when being protected, by my grandmother or my mother or my aunts. They, there was certain people there. Well, they were all there to protect me in general, but definitely there was visual, there was hearing, this stuff, and I believe too, when I was sleeping, this stuff was going on too. So there was like an instant embedded me where I did have my life. I got to do almost, I felt free as like any other kid. I got to watch what I want, eat what I want, get what I want. And I think two of the other kids feel jealous, but there was still that like, that fight in me, right? And so if someone messes with me, we're gonna have this problem. And so I never forgot how to go back and get revenge, you know, and or I didn't forget like, oh, my brother's picked on me this morning, and you know what, I'm gonna get him back later on. You know, it was so embedded to me, like it was almost like a game. You know, it was almost like a game, and it doesn't stop. You know, the game never stops. So it was like very traumatic in response too, because that just led me to, you know, cause harm to the people I loved. You know, even if I thought it was funny because it was like so funny, it was a joke. It was really serious, you know, because
Yeah.
that causes emotional and mental struggles for the people like my brothers that I was hurting, and the pain that I was bringing onto them. And so, you know, I was likely feeling the same way, you know, like exactly, this is like, you know, getting and so it's super important to stay, for me, conscious. So you know, instead of being busy, I know growing up too, parents are always busy. You know, the grandparents, you know, they get busy, and so no matter if it's the party or barbecue or someone's got to go to work, you know, there's always that reoccurring moments, you know, where yeah, I felt left alone or I was angry. So it was a real catalyst, I feel like, to produce even more uh, struggles, you know, and results.
I can see how you want to run away from, not run away, but
Yeah.
from having fun, what you call fun, because when you're watching NASCAR, all these fights were breaking out and all this stuff is happening, and that was supposed to be like a fun time.
Wow.
So that's why you're looking to redirect what fun means, right? So
Right.
I can see why you're making these changes. Share with us a little bit about. We heard a little bit about your mom. What was your relationship with your dad like?
It was really, really, man, it was really nice to have him in my life, to see him there always, right? And so, man, it was, I guess I got the second generation of his teachings, right? So mine was really good, but you know, just like I said, those confrontational moments, or at those fun moments where you're there as a family, and then and stuff breaks out. Well, you know, guess who was likely the first one to take some action in those events, right? And it always comes back home. You know, it always came back home. So right there, that it just brings out even more, you know, in me, and emotions, because I guess at some point you don't feel comfortable at home.
Can I ask two questions?
Hmm.
First is, what have you learned out of all of that experience that you're going to take forward?
Oh man, that, I mean, I don't have to overreact. I can simply get over the reaction, which stops the whole production
Mm-hmm.
from it continuing again.
Okay.
And that I don't need anything to hold that space, to give people true value for themselves. And I could have had this conversation with my dad, with my mom, or I will with my mom, but
Is your
you
dad
know, with,
still alive?
he passed away.
Mhm.
um I had moved to Idaho, I think it was about 6 years ago now. I thought I could have this conversation with him because I was self-realizing a lot of potential in myself. without having to go too far, like travel too far. You know, I spent a lot of time, but I decided not to because, you know, I was still working on it. And so on the drive to Idaho, I was with my uncle, who we had this conversation about life and my dad and growing up. And so, like, you know, when he passed, it was hard. It was hard, but it was probably harder just doing this part of the interview, you know, than it was like that, because I spent 2 or 3 hours like really, really broken, you know, like crying and everything, you know, like, because there was a lot of love that I wasn't allowing myself to feel. And so when I came back to to his viewing, and it was a chance where I got to tell the whole family what I should have told him, or what I could have told him, or what he knows already and now. You know, so it was really powerful, because in the self work that I was doing, and in following the path of or the confirmation of path direction, that's what I call it, because it kept showing me the way, or the energy, or just the timing was perfect, right? It was just correct. So before I spoke, I just started feeling really connected, and right before I popped up, I got up, you know, I felt super charged, like ready to go. And I just popped up like a daisy out of the ground. And you know, my cousin was like, whoa, like, I don't know what happened. And so I just like started talking, taking people on this small journey. I didn't really express the deets so much as just saying, I know we're not all perfect, you know. And I took it, you know, transitioned it quick into the lessons that he allowed me through his teaching of wanting to give, not only, you know, that sense of being a young man, but also having faith, and knowing that, you know, God is not quite what we all thought it was. We would talk in a way that God was this energy or this feeling, and no one could quite understand us. And like, in why we were talking, they're like, how do you know what he's talking about? I'm like, I don't know, I just know. We just go on this journey of explaining and self-realizing, yet there was all that stuff, right? That stuff that he didn't work on, and that stuff I needed to work on, knowing, I guess, now. But yeah, it was a point of I knew after a certain point that he was giving me all that he could, and that, you know, he never, just like when he passed, and me and my uncle had the conversation, like, my father was never gone, because there is a father, like, in a lot of people, to me, who give me the space, you know, like he tried to, and maybe it didn't work, or it did work, but it wasn't full circle so fast. And so yeah.
I'm just conscious that I want to hand back to Sukta, but I've just got the second part was, have you forgiven him and them? And have you forgiven yourself?
Here in the last couple weeks, I had a really big self-realization. It was when I was just refocusing, kind of using the tools so that I can, you know, prime myself for my life. But I got this imagery, and it was really cool, because like, it was like I was giving the awareness or consciousness to my mother and father energy, or those, you know, knowing what on a level. And so in my mind, all those father figures popped up and came up, and he was part of that, right? And so it was amazing to know and understand that he really wasn't gone, or not there for me in those hard ways. But that leaves me, because I have my stepfather now, and he is the last one that I have, or in my mind, what I got, he was the last one that I have to make sure I close this deal with him and let him know that, you know, we may not see like on the same page, and you may want me to go and do things for that make you feel is this is right or correct. And so it's like yeah, I have to have a conversation with him. You know, I really have to make sure I don't go backwards with my fathers.
So my question was,
Oh,
have you forgiven them?
I definitely feel, like I'm more on the process, because here being able to talk about it, it already has made me feel so much more conscious of this time spent. Like you're helping me forgive him in this conversation, and maybe I need more work for sure, you know.
Forgiveness is not about condoning, and it's not about forgetting. It's letting go of the chains that keep you yanking you back. In fact, forgiveness is about giving yourself freedom. It's not about anything that you do to or for them. It's interesting, isn't it, Sukhdev, how often this comes up in our conversations and how important. And they're two very different sides of the coin. Is forgiving other people, and not doing so is like giving yourself the poison and expecting the other person to die.
Right. Wow. So I guess no, I haven't. In the moment, I know it's working, but before this, it would have been a complete no. Really, you know, an honest no.
And then the second side is to forgive yourself. And that's
Right.
about learn the lesson and then let go. Because again, if you don't, there will be a chain round your neck, yanking you back every time something triggers you.
Oh
And
my
in
goodness.
terms of self-love, it gets in the way.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of feels like is happening too. Or I guess I wasn't quite clear on it, but the feels were there, you know? I have to feel like, oh, I have to defend myself from my stepdad, because he's he's really kind to me. He's really, really supportive, but there's still that, you know? So yeah, that is the most current point of, I think, that allowing,
Mm.
you know, and then conversating with actually the guy who's actually here
Yeah.
too.
Yes, you.
Amazing. Yeah, me. Oh my
So
goodness.
you wanted to talk about how you show up in your mission, and I think it would be useful. And Sukhdev, I'm very, very much aware of the fact that I've monopolised the conversation, one might say again, in terms of Isaac taking his mission forward. How about we just spend the last of the interview focusing on that, and if you take this forward with him.
Yeah. So I think with to take your mission forward, we're going to go back to that confidence piece. You need to build that confidence, right? That's where you're lacking when you came into this. So if I had to, and I'm gonna guess that some of that confidence isn't there because, and correct me if I'm wrong, your father didn't give you that confidence. Was there some times where he ripped it away that you felt like it wasn't? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like, I guess more I could put it in like terms of trying to build a bridge, but then going ahead and tearing it down almost after, you know. So I got a lot of confidence in many ways, and that I could do so much, you know. But man, the foundation was cracked. You know, definitely.
Yeah. So that was cracked from the relationship you had with your dad?
I think it became, yeah, or in my mind, that was the point where I could understand more of what was actually happening. Even though I don't think it was, I don't, man, that's a tough, my brain wants to go busy. I'm sorry. Can you just even ask that one more time so I can read?
Yeah. So we're going back to the confidence piece, like um, to get you forward, going on your mission and the life you want to build for yourself, the company or business or whatever your future looks like. There's you didn't have the confidence to do that. So I'm asking, and we also touched on your relationship with your father and how some of that forgiveness, there may be a certain percent forgiven, but not fully. So is that where do you think is there a relationship between those two? Is there something that, what was your father not confident in you, or did he, is that why you feel that you're not as confident now?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of was constructed there, for the most part. And then I want to be able to be here too for other people. And I don't want to leave, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave like I felt left or behind. So
Yeah.
yeah, that exactly. If I feel
Yeah.
it, I mean, the emotions come out in that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think there is that. I think that's where that's what's going to help you is seeing, and it's never too late to talk to your dad. Like, you know, it's never ever too late, because you can, even if you write a letter, you can always write a letter to him still now, today. You know, you can write a letter, you can speak it out, but once you, and that's gonna just free you when you can do that, and you know that you've said it or verbalized it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that freedom, because you didn't get that chance to talk to him. I think that's where that bridge is. That's going to take you from A to B. And that's going to help you build that confidence that you need. Because I think that there might be some sort of guilt still there that you didn't get to speak with him and tell him these things. And this is who you wanted to become. And this is how you're starting to see life. And by doing that, like, it is tough because somebody passed away and then all of a sudden we're like, oh man, I didn't get a chance to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we're really hard on ourselves because of that. But the good news is you can still do that, because it's energy. We're all energy. We have energy inside us. It's what you do with that energy. I made a little post on Gina's LinkedIn actually this morning about this exact same thing that we're talking about right now. But yeah, so you take that energy and you can apply it into different areas and build that bridge and build that strong foundation. Because with, we were talking about the foundation. If the foundation's cracked, you can build whatever you want. It might stand for a little while, but then it'll crumble. But you want to start at that foundation. And I think that's going to be a key point to go from A to B for you.
Wow. Yeah. You saying that, I mean, it brings up so many things that I actually can do to revisit that moment and give back to that in a better, more fruitful way, for myself, for myself only. And so that's really nice to hear. And it's interesting how the emotions came and then I actually felt more comfortable. And then knowing that I can actually do these jobs, like I could, writing a letter I could do anything I want. I could sing a song, you know, about about him and stuff. Like really, that makes me, it helps me feel more in control about what I actually have to give to myself, you know. And I think when I'm there for myself too, then I get to allow myself to be there for others, you know, and be full circle without those compromises or being too busy to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have an awesome mission, and you have I can tell you have a good head on your shoulders, and the direction you're going in life is a,
Mhm.
is a good one, right? So again, we're going to, once you build that solid foundation, you can build whatever you want. But I think it's going to start at that point with, you know, like you said, sing, like write a song for your dad, write a letter, write a poem. You can speak out loud, whatever you want to do, but just there's that little bit of cracked foundation there because you didn't get that moment with him to say these things. And
Right.
I think that's the starting point for you. And from there, you know, you're gonna create something so amazing. Like I could just feel it.
Thank you so much. Man, I can't believe, well, I can believe because I am a believer, but the self-realization just keeps happening over and over and over, and we don't know really anything until we let go of what we have, right? We don't know what we have until we let go. And so yeah, it's really nice to be able to lead myself or lead with others that help me lead myself into the correct path, or to take those goods and bads and not look at them as that, but look at them as what they are, you know. It's like absolute value, you
They're all
know.
learning opportunities. Every single one of those things offers you not only the opportunity to learn about yourself, but when
Hmm.
you come to support and help other people, you'll have an insight and an empathy that you would never have had without that experience. If you like, they're your medals, they're your badges of office. And it's important that you do learn from them and that you don't repeat those mistakes. But all of those things are about your opportunity to learn. And you are a student of life, your life, and you're going to carry your student card the whole of your life if you want to be self-aware. We never finish learning. Doesn't matter whether you're 1 or 20, 50 or 90, you still have the opportunity to learn. So
Right.
we're about coming to the toward the end of the program. I want just one more question before we go.
Hmm.
And I want you to think about, it's 5 years' time, okay? And you are well into your mission. You're never going to be finished it, because I believe it's a lifelong mission. Just share with us, what does it look like for you?
My mission, I believe, which also to take a different or a better foundation, just like in this week, not compromising myself or my dreams or my mission by taking a job that's supporting someone else, right? So I get to use my tools in this week for creating value or exchange of energy with people that helps give me that purpose. So a lot in this switch of mindset, it definitely helped to help me feel whole, and then it also helped bring me here.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't make that decision, there's a good chance I wouldn't have been here. So my goodness, it's my mission looks like this, and it looks like not only just networking, to network, because that's what I was kind of doing at first when I opened my Facebook. And then I wanted to help small businesses and do this and that. And so in that way it was hard to figure it all out. And so I realized when I am with like-minded people, and I do have a system to give what I give my space or give my time to help, and give that right, let's say, business flow, to create value. I only want to continue to anchor down into those people or individuals that help me understand more of myself. So as I continue like this week and create funds, I want to put them into, like say I made $1 million, and I want to always anchor into this what happened this week, and how I can support those who are continuously giving back to the world. So it's a beautiful place to be in the moment. And I know I want to travel. I want to continue to help build structures or foundations for other people to stand on. And so that's people that I meet in life, like on the day to day. And then that's also the people that I believe that are going to help this anchoring and transition the, not like pivotal direction, because I think we're all really ready to leave a lot of the old behind. But saying it is one thing, and doing it's a completely different thing. So I know how it is to help and protect and to hold space more and more. So I'm going to allow myself to do that in ways that I believe have never been done. For one, because I guess, you are all incredibly like unique, yet we're all very much built off the same building blocks, in the universe. So I want to always be able to hold that space so that we can reach those places that we know we can reach. And even if it's in marketing or all that stuff, like, it's important for only me to serve myself first. So it's a crazy world out there, but it's less crazy when we're here. And so I want to always give back to that production, that birthing right for people to have, I guess, not be lacking tools. I got friends who have, websites, and they have their clients and stuff like that too. And I'm like, man, that's so cool. I want to be doing some certain things like that too. I want to help people heal, past traumas, and not always like indirect, like, hey, you're hurting, I see you, and let's work on it now. Like, man, the people come when the time is right. So I don't want to force. I'm not gonna force everything, and that's what it is. My future is just reinforcing those anchors and having fun while I'm doing it. And I always wanted to travel, so I know in this development there's already big movers and shakers, like big hitters who are out there doing what they do. I don't know or believe quite that everyone is well connected yet together. So with, like, digital marketing, like my own purpose of figuring out who I am and work and network, I know it's possible for all of us to be way more supported by each other in ways, because the other side is there's so many other people that need help or want help, that you're gonna come across either way. They're coming to you. They're coming to you. They feel you. They know that there's more out there. So to be able to do this in business would change my life, because now I'm changing my energy and my currency. And I'm not trying to catch on the next fad or like Bitcoin or, all that stuff. I feel like too, leaving a lot of that stuff behind too, because, if I feel this good in doing, in this conversation and taking this course, and even this time we spent already allowed me to break through without feeling like I broke through a physical wall. You know, it's very, very supporting and reinforcing to, you know, the mental, emotional, even physical, because I do feel stronger or already more confident, because there's not that hanging on to something, and to continue that is important for me.
Great.
And that's all I want to do, really, you know, is to be more mobility, have that mobility, be able to control myself, my pains, my aches, my mind, which we all have tools. So it's like, it's there, it's already here. And I believe it's only like going to be a continued shared space to make sure that that end result happens. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's hard to call it business, I guess, when you're living life this way. And before, you thought I thought I had to do so much work. I have to do so much work. I have to stay so busy, you know. And is this busy? Do I call this busy right now? But to some people, right? I mean, to you guys are working, and it's like, wow, I get to work here with you guys on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't quite feel the same, because the feedback is different. The bill or the receipt is a lot less than, let's say, if I was jumping on another call that was strictly business.
Yeah.
Especially with these hang-ups or these anchors that are holding me back. How could I even get through that stuff with all this mess, you know, or this beautiful mess life is, you know? So we always have the opportunity to take things to the next level. And
That's
so
with fun.